Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to another recommendation here, branching out from the 80s a little bit more this week to something more current, from this year actually, from 2025, which is for The Ugly Stepsister. Now this one hit Shudder a few weeks back, I believe maybe a month or so ago, but I'd put off watching it because I believe it's in Norwegian, but I needed to kind of get used to reading subtitles again. It had been a while since I'd had to read subtitles for the entire film and not just to kind of clarify what my friendly case of ongoing tinnitus has been covering up for the past several years. But before going in, of course, what is The Ugly Stepsister about? Well, the synopsis is as follows. It's a long one, though. Follow Elvira as she battles against her gorgeous stepsister in a realm where beauty reigns supreme. She resorts to extreme measures to captivate the prince amidst a ruthless competition for physical perfection. Sounds like a translation of some sort that they came up with that synopsis. But anyways, so ever read some of those original, at least like the older versions of fairy tales, like Brothers Grimm, for instance? If not, definitely do it, but not with the kids around, as often they can get very dark and disturbing, such is the case for Cinderella, from what I recall. And this film uses that as the inspiration and the darker aspects of it specifically. So, not to go into like a scene-by-scene comparison of this film versus a story, what we have is this new family, a mother of two marrying into this rich family. All is going to be well. They will be secure in their future, and but then the husband dies, and it comes out that the family she married into, they aren't that well off after all. They actually really don't have any money. So the money's going to run out, so there's a plan hatched to spend some of that remaining money to fix up one of the women's daughters, Elvira, so she can try to like win the heart of this Prince Charming. It is graphic. It's definitely a graphic film. You know, seeing her have her braces ripped off to give her more of like a smooth smile and everything, or especially when they decide on what kind of nose they want her to have, and seeing it being broken and reset with this weird metal contraption. And definitely the worst one of them would have to be the eyelash extensions, actually sewing on eyelash extensions, as well as some of the strict dieting, which, well, more gross stuff from that down the line. Very gross stuff. But on top of all that, we get some absolutely disgusting behavior towards Elvira. Through like wardrobe fittings and this finishing school, she's just really treated horrendously. Truly beaten down in a very psychological kind of way. This whole you're ugly and undeserving trash, blah 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 kind of stuff. Really breaking her down as she's trying to just take all of this on and become better in the eyes of others. You know, how she's supposed to look and behave according to those around her when it comes to landing this prince and securing their future. So what we get in this is this other side of the Cinderella story from one of the ugly stepsisters' points of view. Cinderella meaning nothing, really being treated like crap, and all the resources are being put to just kind of fix this stepsister and line her up with this prince. But the really crazy and sad thing about all this is that she's already really cute, you know? She's a sweet-looking kid, you know, but I guess they just needed her to grow up fast, I guess, and be more than she is. Look more mature and classically beautiful according to what their opinions and standards are of the time, and they did this horrific stuff to her to try to get her there, both physically and mentally. The lengths that she goes to is where all of the horror, where all the horror really comes from with this one. I've even heard comparisons to The Substance, which definitely makes a lot of sense. Even their trailer had similar kind of editing style to it, with a lot of footage just kind of flashing up on the screens and everything, because they're both about like beauty standards. And there are some scenes, especially around that dieting, when it comes to this tapeworm, which truly are gut-wrenching. But aside from all of that shock, what we get here is to see the Cinderella story from you know, we could see a Cinderella character in the background, see what kind of lines up with the stories that we've either read or that we've seen in an animated film. That we've seen in the past, such as little animals helping her to sew her costume up and how they changed it around for this film. Little verbiage about, you know, the pumpkin carriage, how is that going to come into play, or the lost slipper being left behind at the ball. Because also, if you remember any of those older tellings of this story, when it comes to trying to get into that slipper, things get pretty gruesome with that. But at any rate, This one may be a tad gross for a lot of people. It was even kind of borderline for me, especially the dieting portion of it. And the subtitles may turn some people off because they have to kind of read and lose focus what's happening on the screen. If you watch a lot of foreign films, it's really not an issue at all, though. But at any rate, all in all, it's definitely an interesting one. Seeing the other side of the Cinderella story from the side of this ugly stepsister, or what they're referring to as ugly, what she's trying to do to try to overshadow Cinderella and all of the other women in order to get this prince, and not to mention why she's trying to get him. And also, one final word, the set design and costuming. I almost ran right past that one. This film looks intricate and gorgeous and expensive. You know, it's completely unexpected seeing a film with this kind of like gross subject matter be shot so wonderfully and dressed so well with such amazing detailed costuming as well. And outside of all that, there's even a little bit of humor thrown in here and there as she goes along this journey. And Leah Myron, who plays Elvira, really does an amazing job in this one, which is more than worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out my quick little video here for The Ugly Stepsister from 2025, which at the time of this video is on Shudder and I believe on AMC Plus as well. If it sounds interesting, head on over and check it out. Just don't be eating during it, especially pasta towards the prestigious ball portion of it. It's kind of gross. But anyways, that's all I've got for this one. Thanks for coming by and sticking around to the end. If you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up. And if not already subscribed, consider subscribing, checking out some of my back catalog, and if you're looking for something to watch. And I will see you in the next one.